Okay, good. So welcome to this session of Open Mentor. Yesterday, we went through the for loop. A for loop means a definitive loop. That means it will start with some number and then it will go up to this number, not less than this number, just one less than this number. And the increment will be this. So it is a definitive loop. It will end in any way. Today, we are going to see something like a loop with a condition. This is also a kind of condition only because the condition is start with 5, increment 5, 5, 5 onwards till you are less, as long as you are less than 100, keep repeating. So, but this is a definitive number in start, in for loop, you always give a starting number, ending number, and then an increment. Now I am going to add another block. This is the same thing. I am going to explain the same thing in a while loop. While loop is with a condition explicitly given. Now, this is the initial value is 5, right? That means let's say the loop counter C, loop counter is initially set to 5. Good. Now, we have to keep on repeating as long as this loop counter is less than 100. To make that condition happen, the syntax is while C less than 100. Put a colon, okay? Whether it is if or for or while, put a colon, then it automatically gets indented. Now, if you see here, while C less than 100, okay? That means as long as default, the value of C is less than 100, keep repeating. That is the meaning. So you are giving a condition explicitly here. Now I'm going to say print C. Okay. But if I don't, I need, what is the increment here in our for loop? We have given 5. So that means C is equal to increment C by 5. Correct? This is what I have given. Now, initially C is set to 5. I am giving a condition as long as C is less than 100, keep repeating. Print the value of C. Now, increment C equal to C plus 5. So it is exact representation of the for loop. But in for loop, we are not giving a condition, whereas we are giving a condition here. Now let me run it. For it will print in length, let me put only 5 and let me run it. Now if you see here, 5, it printed C. It incremented C to 10. Then let me put also one more thing. Print, I am out of the loop. Let me print this so that it will be explicit. If you see here, initially C was 5, 10, 15, 20, it is incrementing, it is printing C. After 4, it went to 2, again it checks the condition, again it comes back. Again it checks the condition, it comes back. After reaching 45, line number 4 is executed, C became 50. 50 is not less than 50, 50 is equal to 50. So it came out of the loop, right? So the problem, the thing is, it came out of the loop, then it printed this line. So this is while loop. As long as this condition is true, keep repeating, keep looping. This is the basic construct. While is just one keyword. And then this colon, then you have to give a condition. Now the thing is, if I don't increment with C is equal to C plus 5, what will happen? It will become an infinite loop, because imagine if I am increasing C, I am saying say C is equal to C minus 1. C will be my 4, 3, 2, 1. So this condition will always become true. So it will never become false. So the loop will keep on executing. It is called the infinite loop. So we should always do a check in our while loops. We should be extremely cautious so that we are not making an infinite loop. Is this construct clear to you? Very simple, just one keyword. For is also one keyword, while is also one keyword, but only thing is you have to take extreme caution to make sure that somehow this condition should become false at some point of time. Till then it will keep repeating. Now I am going to slightly modify this. Okay. Now rather than giving this, I'm going to make a thing like as long as C is not equal to 0, I'm going to give a condition like this. As long as C is not equal to 0, ask the user to input the C. Okay. Now let me say C is equal to int of input, give a value. Okay. So what I'm doing is inside I'm putting a condition. As long as C is not equal to 0, keep looping. To make sure that it enters the loop, initially I make it to C is equal to 1 so that it enters the loop. Once it enters the loop, it keeps on doing it, then it will keep on printing it. Okay. Now let me do one thing. Okay. Let me put this value, just put this line just below this. Now let me know no difference, I'm just running it. Now watch. It is asking me give me a value. I am entering 2. It is printing 2. 2 after printing it, it goes back to line 2. Then it is saying 2 is not equal to 0. So I repeat the loop. Now I'm saying 5. It prints 5. It goes back to this while condition. 5 is not equal to 0. Again it asks me a value. I enter 6. Again it prints 6. Then it is again 6 is not equal to 0. Now I am entering 0. Just watch. I am entering 0. Now I entered 0. It printed the value 0. It went back here. It checked the condition. 0 is equal to 0. So this became false. It came out. Right? So it came out of the loop. If I keep on entering 4, 5, 4, 56, 2, 52, if I don't enter 0, it will keep on repeating for the entire life. It will never stop. So somewhere the user should input 0. You might have seen in many programs, enter, give option 1 for this, give option 2 for this, give option 9 for exit, something like that. So in that program, if you entered 9, they would have exited the program in voice response systems, etc. So exactly like that, as long as this value is not equal to 0, keep repeating. So now I am based on I am not doing some increment or anything. Until this condition is met, I am repeating. Is this clear? Any question on this one? Very simple mechanism. Very, very simple mechanism. Now, the next thing I am going to introduce to you is one more thing. Now, I am going to say if C equal to 5, okay, just watch what I'm doing, then you will understand what it means. I don't even have to explain. I want to give a construct. If C is equal to 5, then I say continue. I am introducing a word called continue. Okay. I am giving a condition inside the loop. If C is equal to 5, continue. The keyword is continue. I will run it. You will understand the purpose. Now I run it. I give you a value 3. It comes inside the loop. 3 is not equal to 5. So this continue is not executed. It comes and prints C. So it goes back to the loop. Now I enter 4. 4 is not equal to 0. So it is continuing. So this is coming inside the loop. 4 is not equal to 5. So this line number 5 is not executed. It printed C. Now watch very carefully. I am entering 5. I am entering 5. Now what? It didn't print C. I gave 3, it printed 3. I gave 4, it printed 4. I gave 5, it did not print 5 because the moment I say continue, control will not go to the next statement, it will go back to the while condition. Rest of the lines, the line of anything within the loop, it will ignore. So the moment I entered 5, instead of printing the value as 5, the continue indicates now go back to your condition while loop. It continues. Now I enter 4, it prints 4. I enter 7, it prints 7. Now I enter 5, watch. It doesn't print 5 because the word continue is executed. So it goes to this while loop and then comes out. Now I enter 0, it prints 0 and then it comes out. Is this clear? The purpose of continue is nothing but rather than executing the rest of the statements within the loop, just go back to the while condition, but still continue the loop. Don't stop, continue the loop, but don't execute the rest of the statements. It is one function. Now, this is one keyword. Now I am going to introduce one more keyword. Instead of continue, I am saying break. Okay. I am using the keyword break. Again, you watch, you will understand when it is running. You will understand the functionality. Now I am entering the value 2. It prints the value 2, then goes back to loop. I enter the value 3. It prints the value 3 and then goes back. Now watch. I am entering 5. See what happens. When I say 5, it did not come to 7, line number 7 within the loop. It abruptly moved out of the loop to line 8. So when you use continue, it ignores the rest of the statement, goes back to the loop. When you use break, it ignores the rest of the lines in the loop, but comes out of the loop. So what is the difference between C is equal entering Z is equal to 0 and break? I will once again execute. Okay, you watch. I will execute once again. Now I am entering 7. Now I am entering 9. Now I am entering 0. Watch. When I am entering 0, it is not 0. It still executes C. It goes back to the condition, checks that condition, no, C is equal to 0. This becomes false. It then exits. So it goes back to while condition and then exits based on the condition. Whereas the moment I put C equal to 5 inside and then say break, it abruptly exits out of the loop, out of the while loop, ignoring the rest of the statements, ignoring the conditions. Is this clear? Okay. Correct? Is this clear? So now the key factor here is there is only one keyword called while. The while will always try to execute as long as the condition is true, it will keep on executing. But somewhere you need to come out of the loop. It cannot be infinitely executing. So it is up to you to ensure that the condition is met to exit out of the loop. So that condition can be met in multiple ways. One is the while condition becomes false so that you come out. Or you give some condition inside the loop with a break statement so that it comes out. Okay. So unless you ensure that the condition becomes somewhere false, or you are using explicit break statement, it will become an infinite loop. You will get into trouble. Is this concept clear? So there are two words that you are getting inside this while continue, break. That is the syntax, right? Good. Okay. Now, I am going to move to the next topic for the day. What is that topic? Let me open one more code section. So far, when you say C or A or B, it is all one, it is called a variable. This variable can, at any point of time, it can have only one value at a given point of time. Now, I am going to introduce something called a list. Okay. Let me say L equal to denote a list, to create a list, you have to use square brackets. When within the square bracket, I am going to give a value, for example, Chennai, then the next value, Trichy, then the next value, Madurai. Okay. So what I have done is L, within square brackets, I have defined string 1, comma string 2, comma string 3. I have given 3 values. Now let me print this L. If I say print L, see what happens. So when I print L, it is printing the values of all the 3, right? The 3 values. So what happens? Chennai is one value, Trichy is one value, Madurai is one value. You could see I have used double quotes. He is printing as single quotes. It's almost, this is no difference when it comes to the values inside the list. You can use either single quotes or double quotes, not a problem. Now what I'm going to do is, in string, you have used how to find how many number of characters are in the string. Len, correct. So what I'm going to do is print len of L. I can use the same thing. When I say print length of L's, number of elements in list. Now let me run it. When I run it, Chennai is one element, Trichy is one element, Madurai is another element. So it prints 3 as the length. Now in string, what is the way that you want to get the second element or the first element? Suppose I say print L of 1. If I say L of 1, see what happens. I run it. L of 1, it says Trichy, because it, in string also first element is taken as, first character is taken as 0. Here also the list's first element is taken as 0. This is 0th element, this is the first element, so it prints Trichy. And also one more thing, the list can have any value, mixture of value. Now I am using this is a string, this is an integer. This is a string, I am using 14.56 as floating point, right? One element can be string, another element can be float, another element can be int. It can have a mixture of anything. Now if I run it, it will not have any issues. It will treat every element as a separate element. So it's a collection of, a list is nothing but a collection of elements. Now what I'm going to do is, I printed L of 1. Let me show one more thing. Print L of, I say, -1. See what happens. When I say L of 1, this is 0, this is 1. The moment I say L of -1, it is taking the last element as this thing. It doesn't say, when it's counting from left to right, it is taking 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. When it comes to right to left, if you use minus, this is the first element, this is the second element. Okay, so if I want to have, for example, you have a list of people, first 10 marks, last 10 marks. So you can use this kind of a concept when you are building some logic. So what is the advantage of list? Initially, I have added some values to the list. Now what I am going to do is, I am going to add one more value to the end of the list. That means to the tail of the list, I am going to add an element. For that, there is a command. L dot append. Append is a command. L is the list name. Dot append within bracket. What do you want to add? I want to add Kovai as the last element. If you want to add anything in the last, use that list dot append. Now let us say print L. Now watch. See what happens. This is the original list. It executed L dot append. Kovai got appended at the end. So just one command, adding a value to the end of the list is one line. Now I want to delete. Okay, before delete I would say, now append means always add it to the end. Now what I'm going to do is, there is something called insert. If I say L dot insert, within the list there are some 4 or 5 elements. I want to add, look at it, also shows the syntax. Third element, I want to add a third, insert a third element. What is the third element? I want to as Salem. Now let me print. Okay, just watch. Now if you see here, this is the original list. Then I appended with Kovai, then the list became like, after Madurai it added Kovai. Now I said third element put Salem. 0, 1, 2, third element it inserted Salem so that the list automatically got adjusted. Previously the third element was 14.56. Now I said third element insert this one. This became the third element. This became 4, 5, 6. This is possible. That means the list is, a list meaning is a collection of values. List is modifiable. You can modify the values of the list. Then I can add or I can append. I can also modify. Now I say modify the third element of the list or modify the first element of the list. L of 0, I want to change it to some value as let us say Nellai. Okay. For 0th element is initially Chennai. Now I say it is going to be Nellai. Now let me run it. Now watch. Initially the 0th element was Chennai. Now I said I literally assigned a new value to that one. 0th element has become Nellai. Same way I can also do one thing. I can delete. I can add. I can add at the end, or I can insert at the middle. I can modify the value of an element. At the same time, I can also delete an element. For example, I want to delete the 5th element of this list. So I can say del, use the word del, L of 5. Okay. Del L of 5, print L. I want to delete the 5th element. Watch. Now if you see here, let me scroll down. Nellai 40, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 6, right? So 5 is Madurai, right? So when I say L of 5, it is Madurai. He deleted that item in that list, then Kovai is moved here. So list is a collection of data represented with just one name. L is the name. But within that, I can use a subscript or an index. This is called an index 3, 0, 5. This is called the index or subscript that I can use and then go to that particular element and then add or delete or whatever. And then I can also do, the list can also have duplicate values. Okay. For example, I want to have L of 1 equal to Nellai. Okay. So there are 2 elements called Nellai. Now let me run it. So you are seeing Nellai, this is a duplicate. So list can have duplicate values. I can modify the list. Is this clear? Duplicates allowed in the list. Is this clear? Good. See, L of -1 meaning from the end. When I say L of 1, it goes from 0 and then 1. When I say -1, from the right, this is the -1, then it is taking that from the last, it takes the first element. For example, instead of L of -1, if I put L of -3, okay? Now let me print it. If you see here, L of -3 is 1, 2, 3, third element from the last, that is stretching. That's what he is printing. So the minus subscript, if you use, it will go from the right to left. If you use positive, it will go from 0 from left to right. Is that clear? Only thing is, from left to right, it starts with 0. Whereas from right to left, it is always starting from -1, -2. There is nothing like -0 from that, okay? That is the only difference. So if you look today, what we have done, we have gone through while, look at the number of keywords, while, continue, break, list using square brackets, then len, then append, then insert, del, then I think those are all the keywords that we used, and then the notation of +1 or -1 for the list elements. So this is the concept of list. Same name, for example, January is the same name, but that for within the month I have got 30 days. First day of January, second day of January, third day of January. Same way, first element of list L, second element of list L, third element of list L. That is the kind of a notation. In other languages, people call it as arrays. Here we call it as list. There are multiple varieties of arrays, but right now we are looking at only one. We will come back to the rest of it very soon. Okay? Clear? Did we learn something new today? Good. So let me check whether Sriraman has come. Let me stop the recording.